moderation, okay?
That's
Flavia,
okay. Yes.
please go ahead and start with the moderation.
Okay, like I said, good evening. My name is Flavia Atukunda, and I'm a fellow with Women Ascension, the HR Fellowship Program. This program is one of the flagship 16-week hands-on HR training initiatives, and it's designed to equip aspiring HR professionals with the practical skills they need to thrive. It's also a program I'm deeply proud to be of. And today it brings me joy to step in as your moderator. So today's session is the second in the Women Ascension 1 Million Leadership of 2030. That's for the HR and Inclusive Leadership series. And this 6-part series will run through all the way to 16th April and is built on one simple but powerful belief. And that belief is that great workplaces do not happen by accident. These are built by people, you and me, who are willing to be honest, to be practical, and to have courageous conversations. So now, based on all that I've said, I want to ask each and every one of us on the call something. When did you last Google yourself? And if you did, what did you find? Or even more importantly, the things that you saw that were said about you on the internet, did they reflect who you truly are or what you stand for or who you believe you are? I'm asking this because in a world where your digital footprint can open doors before you even go through them, your online presence it's not what you'd call as optional. It's your first impression, it's your portfolio, and it's your voice all in one. And because of that, based on everything that I've said, our session today will be based on that. So our topic for today will be Your Digital Voice Matters. And under that, we'll talk about building a professional brand with purpose. So under this, we're going to explore personal branding for impact. We'll talk about how to use LinkedIn as a genuine career tool. We'll also look at what it means to build an employer brand in mission-driven organizations or companies. Then we'll also look at how to show up online with both authenticity and responsibility. And to talk through all this, we have someone who does not just teach personal branding, but they actually live it. This person, I think the person has already been introduced, but I'll take the honors to reintroduce them. Their name is Miss Mary, Akua, Ahenmah, Dadzie. I don't know if I pronounced them well. And she's, oh, fantastic. So Mary is an HR professional and career development coach who has worked alongside business leaders, job seekers, entrepreneurs, and other sectors of companies to empower them to excel. She's also the convener of Career Impact Hour. Career Impact Hour is a program dedicated to equipping professionals with a kind of practical knowledge that actually moves careers forward. So, if anyone can show us how to make her digital voice matter, it's definitely her. And we are honored to have you here, Miss Mary. So, before we begin, sorry.
Please go ahead.
Okay, so before we begin, I just need to make 2 notes. First of all, for the rest on the call, please have your microphones muted during the session for the benefit of each and everyone, or so that we can all hear clearly anyway. And for order, so that there is one person speaking at a time. And after the session, I imagine some of us will have questions to ask, we'll have queries, we'll have certain things we want to be verified. Please drop them in the chat as you think through them or as you ponder on the different things that will come to your mind. We'll address them in the Q&A at the end, and then, yeah, we'll address them. So please, let's welcome Miss Mary to take us off.
Right. Thank you so much. First of all, to Women Ascension for invite, and also to you, my honorable moderator. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. A lot have been said. So for the benefit of time, we'll just go ahead with what we have to do today. So once again, good afternoon from Ghana. Wherever you are watching or listening to me from, a very big hello to you. So straight, as our moderator said, our topic for today is your digital voice matters. Building a professional brand with purpose. But before we go ahead, what do you understand by purpose? When we say purpose, what is the simple explanation you have when we say purpose? Because the two things we are looking at right now is building a brand, right? But not just building the brand, but building it with purpose, building it with an idea in mind, or building it with a reason in mind. I think I've even explained what I wanted to ask, with regards to what you understand by purpose. So let me just go straight ahead. So as we all know, no, let me not even do it. I want it to be very engaging. So can somebody just Google his or her name, like right now, and let's see what comes up. Anybody to do as Diana, to Google your name, and then we will see what pops up. You read it to us, so we have an idea of what is written about you online. Anybody to do as Diana, please?
Sorry, I would like to share. Coincidentally, I searched my name just a few days back. And I think maybe because it was my own browser that I've been using for my, personal, details and everything. So my LinkedIn popped up, when I wrote my name. Yeah, my LinkedIn was visible in the search.
Okay, right. Thank you so much. Any other person to do as Diana? Okay. Okay, I think I can read some comments. So we have this from Bushra. Please forgive me if I don't pronounce your name properly. Okay, so he or she is saying there was a name and then a picture. So it means that nothing at all came, right? If I understand what you just wrote. And then the second person, okay, I searched it on Google. My LinkedIn was visible in my published material. Wow, that's nice. Impressive. Okay, so there's another one saying my name and picture. Great, great, great. Okay, thank you all so much for that. So the main idea of why I asked you to Google your name is without you being visible online, right? It will be very difficult for people to find you, regardless of wherever you find yourself. Okay, people must know you from anywhere around the world. Now, the world is a global village, and you have the opportunity to be known worldwide by building a brand. Okay, so that's why I asked all of us to Google our names. So these are the few things that we are going to talk about. We are going to talk about why digital voice matter as in building your brand. We're also going to talk about personal branding. We are going to do something about you auditing your online presence. We're also going to talk about building your brand, the platform strategy, consistency, and then some actionable steps that you need to take. All right. So why does having a brand or having a digital presence matters. Why is it important for you to have a brand? Or why is it important for you to build a brand on LinkedIn? Now, there is a research or a survey that says 85% of jobs are filled through networking and online presence. However, it takes only 3 seconds, right? It takes just 3 seconds for how long somebody decides whether to trust you or not. Now, this 3 seconds is telling you and I something. Just 3 seconds. It means that the person is just going to take a glance before they will even decide to take a second look, right? I always say that when you go out there and then you see something very nice, it catches your attention, but your attention being caught as at that point is just some few seconds. Whether you are going to look at it again to pay much attention will determine whether you liked that particular thing. For example, if you are in town and then you see a shoe, okay, once you see the shoe, it will catch your attention. Whether you tend to look at it again is whether you liked it and you want to get it for yourself, right? So that is how it is when somebody looks at your brand online. There's going to be a glance in the first 3 seconds, but as to whether the person would want to network with you or would want to work with you would be dependent on what the person sees. Are you with me? Right. Now, the next one is 70% of employers screen candidates on social media first. Now, even if they don't use social media, they come on social media to understand or learn something about the people they want to employ, the people they want to have in their company. And so now social media is very important. Now, you using social media must be to your benefit, not to your disadvantage. And for us to use it to our benefit, that is where the personal branding comes in. Are you with me? Right. So there's a quote here saying your digital presence is your first impression. Are you making it count? The name, the photographs, the publications you have online, are you making it count? Is it working for your advantage? These are some of the questions you need to ask yourself. Okay. So what is a personal brand? So Jeff, I hope we all know Jeff, right? So he's saying that your brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room. Your brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room. So the room here would be on social media or LinkedIn to answer questions. For example, if now I want to go on LinkedIn to know something about you, you will not be there for me to ask you, okay, so whose name do I mention? Okay, anybody, let me just mention my name. Okay, so Akua, how and that is this done, right? I will not always be there to answer those questions. However, the brand I have built out there will do the talking for me when I am not online or when I am not available to speak for myself. So that is why personal branding is very important. Now, when we say personal branding, what are the things that we are looking at? You can build a very unique personal branding with your skills and your expertise, right? The second one is you can build that with the values and the things that you stand for. Okay. The third one is you can build it with how you communicate and show up. Then the last one is your story. Okay, so when we say skills and expertise, what are we talking about? So as an HR or regardless of any profession that you are in, the skills that you possess, right? You can build a brand around it. You don't need to write so many things. You don't need to share so many things online. You can just build something around your expertise or the things that you possess. Again, you can also use your values or some things that you stand for. Just sharing your views online. You can also build a brand using that. Again, people can have a way they communicate, a way they show up and all of that, which can be attractive. Okay, so you can also build a brand with that. So all of these things are combinations that you can use to your advantage, where a brand can speak for you without your presence or without you being in that room. Okay, so let's look at the 3 P's of building a personal brand. The 3 P's. So the first one is purpose, the second one is presence, the third one is position, right? And then, yeah, so that's the third one. Now, when we go to purpose, I think I mentioned earlier when we talk about purpose, what are we saying? And I said purpose is the reason for which you want to do something, right? And so if you are looking at building a personal brand or building a brand that will be very purposeful or that would help you in the near future or would create an advantage for you, you first of all need to know, come on LinkedIn to build a brand. Why do you want to take that line? Why do you want to utilize that opportunity? Right? So that is where purpose comes in. So purpose will be the reason for which you want to build the brand. So know why you do what you do. Why, like I said, why do you want to build a brand on LinkedIn? Okay, so these are some of the things you need to ask yourself. You can't just wake up and then you go like, okay, I want to build a brand. Okay, why do you want to build it? Because it's only your purpose for building the brand that will keep you on that journey. Okay, so there are sometimes that people will start building a brand, and then because they have not been able to really understand what they want to do for themselves, you realize that in the process of they building a brand, they face challenges here and there. Okay, but one thing you need to know and understand is that regardless of anything that you're doing, it will always not be a smooth road, right? It's a journey, and so there'll be turns, there'll be curves and all of that. However, when you are rooted in your purpose, it will always keep you going. So before you even build a brand, you cannot take purpose out of the equation. Know why you want to build a brand. You want to build a brand because you want to be seen. You want to build a brand because you want to opportunities to find you. You want to build a brand because you want to be known worldwide, or you want to build a brand because you want to sell something to your audience, right? To create an income for yourself. These are some of the things you need to think about. Okay, if you are looking at building a brand. Okay, so the second one is presence. So presence is showing up across the right platforms. There's so many platforms you can use to build a brand. However, which one are you deciding on? Which one are you deciding on to build your brand? But because LinkedIn is the professional platform that we all know, our concentration is going to be on LinkedIn. So as much as possible, you need to show up on the right platform, which is LinkedIn, because that is the only place you can build visibility in a professional way, right? I am not saying the other platforms you cannot. I'm only saying that when you put them on a scale, LinkedIn is the only professional platform that you can, build a professional brand. Then you can include the other platforms. Now, the third one is position. If you are building a brand, you need to take a position for yourself, right? So what position are you taking for yourself. And in terms of position, we are talking about you owning your niche. I'm going to use myself as an example. When I started and I wanted to build my brand, I used my expertise, which is in the HR field, to build a brand for myself. That is what I used. And that is the niche I am creating for myself. Okay, so if you want to build a brand, you need to know the niche in which you want to build the brand. Are you getting me and are you with me? All right. So these are some of the questions you need to ask yourself. What makes you the go-to person? If you select a niche, you need to own it. You need to speak to it, right? You need to be an expert in that particular field because nobody would want to connect with you or pay you for something you cannot help them solve, right? So if you are going to build a brand in that niche, you need to know and understand what you are doing. You can only do that when you are an expert, okay? And then people would come to you. So you position yourself for people to see you. You need to be seen, right? That is why you need to take a position when building a brand, right? Okay, so this is an audit where I said we are going to do an online audit, right? And right from the beginning of the session, I asked you to Google yourself. Okay, so a lot of you shared what you saw on Google. Okay, so the first step is to Google yourself, which we have already done. Now, the second one is after you Googled, you need to review your profile. Okay. If you only saw your name and let's say a picture, is that the only thing you want people to know? Is that the only thing? If it's just your name and your picture, is that the only thing? Or you want people to see the work that you are doing? You want people to know some of the solutions you have to offer to them. These are some of the things you need to be thinking about, and these are some of the things you need to pay attention to. All right. Now, the third one is to ask, does it reflect your brand? The things that you saw online after you Googled your name, are those the things that you want people to, you want to align yourself with? That is a question. That is it also reflecting your brand? What you are building for yourself, is it reflecting it? Please, can I be heard? Can I be seen? Can I
Yes,
be heard?
listening.
Can I be seen, please? I
Yes,
want to be sure.
there was some
Right.
disruption.
Thank you very
You're
much.
back now.
Okay. So, oh, so sorry about that.
No worries.
All right. So the third one is like I was saying, the things you saw online, is it reflecting what you want to sell to people? Is it reflecting the type of brand you want to build for yourself? If it is reflecting, then I mean, that is a good thing. However, if it is not reflecting, it means that there's work to be done. And the work you need to do is to do an edit on your brand. You need to sit down, and if it's a write-up that you need to do, you need to write it and put it online. If it is some deletions, maybe over the years, over the months, or over the days, you posted certain things that it can be a stain on your name or on your brand. You need to look at deleting those things online before it affects you in the near future, right? So these are some of the things that you need to look out for. All right. So how do you build clarity? You cannot build a brand when you are in a confused mode, right? So first of all, you need to be clear about what you want to do. I'm going to take it again. I'm saying that if you want to build a brand with purpose, right, you need to approach it with clarity. Know what you want to do. Know the people you want to serve, right? And what you want to be known for. These are three very important things that you need to look out for if you are building a brand. Not just a brand, but a brand with purpose. A brand meant for something, a brand meant for a particular reason, right? So clarity cannot be taken out of the equation. Number two, you need to be consistent with what you are building. If you want to build a brand with purpose, you must know what works for you and stick to it. Sometimes we get to see what people are doing and then want to imitate it. But for example, I may be doing something that works for me, but it may not work for you. It doesn't mean you should also do same. No. Just know what works for you and stick to it. That is the only way you can be consistent with building your brand, right? So if a particular platform works for you most, you need to stick to it. Maybe how you write, you do your writings, how you sell yourself out there. If it is working for you, just be consistent with it and stay with that. Right. Then the third one is authenticity and connection. Okay. You cannot build a brand in isolation. I always say that even with what we are doing now, right? If it was just one person, we cannot call it success. We cannot say that our meeting this afternoon or this evening, I mean, wherever you are joining us from, but I will say afternoon because I'm in Ghana. So we cannot say that our meeting this afternoon is successful if it is just one person joining or it's just one person here. Okay, so whatever you do, you would need people to help you, people to support. There would be like a support system, right? And so you cannot take connections and then people from the equation if you want to build a brand with purpose. So if you are building your brand, you need to connect with people that would support you. They will serve as your support system. People are bridges, right? So if you want to move from one step to the other, you need people. Are you getting me? You need people. And so you cannot say that you are building a brand in isolation. No, you need people to support you. And I'm just going to use this as an example. When I started building my brand, right, you are new to it, okay? I was very new to it. And sometimes when you post something which is very educative, but because people do not really know you, you realize that sometimes you are having just about 1 like, 2 likes, 5 likes, and all of that. But when people started knowing me, sorry, I hope you can see my screen. Okay.
Yes,
But
we
when
can.
Okay, right. But when people started knowing me and seeing what I do, now you post and then you have people engaging, and some of these things bring in opportunities, to be very honest with you. Okay, so if I didn't have these people to support my work, to support my brand, it could have served as, a demotivation or something because people are not connecting with you, right? And so, whether we like it or not, and in all honesty, people are needed if you want to build your brand. Okay. Then the last one, which is the fourth one, is credibility and value. Credibility and value. If you are building a brand, you need to be a person of value, right? you need to create things or content that would educate people, that would inspire them, that would entertain them. Okay, you cannot just say you are doing anything. You are just building a brand, so you are building a brand, you know. But we are building it with purpose. We have a reason for building that brand, right? And one of those things is to be a person of value, a person of credibility. Somebody should look at you and say that, okay, if I come to Mary, she's going to help me do this, or I trust that if I reach out to her, she's going to deliver on this particular thing. Those are some of the things that you need to look at, right? So these are the four things that you need to look at if you want to build a brand with purpose. Now, in terms of you choosing a platform, I think I've already mentioned that. So I'll just skip, but like I said, there are a lot of platforms. We have LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and a lot. But our concentration is on LinkedIn because we are looking at building a professional brand, right? So it is not about you being everywhere. In fact, when I started building my brand, the concentration was on LinkedIn. Then with time, I added Instagram and then Facebook because honestly, we are humans, right? There are so many things that we are doing. We are working. Some of us are doing 8 to 5. After that, there are things that you need to also attend to in terms of family, friends, you need to find time for your loved ones. And also, if somebody reaches out to you for work and all of that, you need to find time for that. So, you do not need to be everywhere, but you need to take it one step at a time. And I was just using my as an example, right? I only started on LinkedIn, and then now I've added Instagram and then Facebook. So you do not need to be everywhere at all the time. Just start one step at a time and then you take it from there. Right. So these are some of the steps that you need to take when you are building a brand. The first one is to define your value proposition. Okay. So if we are talking about you defining your value proposition, what are we talking about? The first thing to look at is what makes you different from the others. You can be an HR, but there are so many HR professionals, I mean, worldwide, but what makes you stand out? What makes you different from the others? It can be anything. So you need to sit down, know yourself, and then you will position yourself in a particular field or area that works for you. Are you getting me? Now, the second one, what are some of the problems you solve? As an HR is very huge. I mean, there are so many fields under HR. We have performance management, training and development, compensation and benefits, all of that. They are all in HR. But what problems are you solving if you want to position yourself as a go-to HR professional? What problem can you solve best? These are some of the things you need to be asking yourself, and these are some of the things you need to be finding answers to. Are you getting me? Now, number two is to identify your audience. After you have positioned yourself as an HR, a valuable HR, you need to identify the people you want to serve. I'll use serve because when it comes to building a brand, there's some part that it will look like you are serving the people, right? Because at every point in time, you need to be sure that you are delivering value, the content you are putting out there, somebody is learning something from it. And I look at it from the point of service, right? So, what are the people that you are serving? You need to know. You need to identify them, you need to understand them, and you need to know them. Okay, so know the people you want to solve their pain points, which is their problems, and you need to understand those problems. Without understanding it, you will not be able to solve them. Without knowing it, you will not be able to solve it. So these are the questions you need to find answers to. Then the last one is the platform, which we have already talked about, that we are using LinkedIn because that is the #1 professional platform. All right. So these are some of the content that you can use to build your brand, right? There are so many of them, but I just use this as an example to help you understand what I mean, right? So the first one is what we call an expertise content. All right. So that is you sharing your knowledge, your insights, your tips, and also positioning yourself as an expert, right? And so as an HR or any field that you find yourself in, you need to share knowledge in the HR field. What are some of the insights that people can learn from? Okay, what are some of the tips that you can share with people? You can share with employees, you can share with leaders, you can share with job seekers, all of these people. What are some of the tips, workplace tips? What are some of those things that somebody can read and go like, okay, today I learned something from Mary, I learned something from this person and all of that. Those are some of the contents that you can also look at. I think about 1.5 years ago, I was in town. I went to town to actually get something, and I was just walking by the roadside, and somebody approached me, and then he was like, he's thanking me, because there was a time I posted something and he learned it, he implemented, and that thing has helped him get a job. And I was like, oh, that's impressive. So I didn't know him. I never met him. And in fact, when I went back to the post, I didn't even see him engaged on that post, right? But he was able to take me back to what I wrote and shared on LinkedIn, which he implemented, and it has helped him, right? And he never forgot about it. He met me in town and he was thanking me for that. And so if you are building a brand, ensure that anything you are putting out there is either educating somebody, sharing knowledge with them, is insightful, or you are sharing tips with them. That is the only thing that will position you as an expert or as an HR, a valuable HR person, right? Then the second one is the story content. So I think you may have seen some of them where somebody will share their journey, maybe a failure they had, or some lessons they have learned from a particular engagement, a particular activity, or anything they did, right? So those are some of the things that you can also share knowledge on. Your journey, some things that you have learned, or lessons that you want to share with your audience. Those are some things that you can also look at. Then the last one is community engagement. I I know you may have seen some of them where sometimes you post somebody spotlighting the person, or sometimes it mostly happens on Wednesdays and I think Mondays, where somebody would post maybe a male or a female and go like, this is my woman crush Wednesday, or man crush, Monday, or man crush Wednesday. Or sometimes somebody will post somebody and go like, I learned ABCD from this person and all of that. So all of these ones are spotlighting, you spotlighting somebody. Okay, it also helps with engagement. So that's another type of content that you can equally engage people in conversation. Or celebrating somebody. Sometimes you see somebody post a photo of somebody and go like, okay, this person has graduated from, masters, or this person did ABCD, all of those ones content that you are spotlighting and then celebrating people. So these are, three major contents that you can draw on if you want to build your brand. Okay. Okay, so there's a quote by Brent Brown where he said that yourself through that process is the bravest thing that we will ever do. I'm going to take it again. He says that owning your story and loving yourself through that process is the bravest thing we will ever do. I'm going to take it again because I want you to understand it and ponder over it. Owning your story and loving yourself through that process is the bravest thing we will ever do. Now, I'm going to break it down for you. If we are talking about owning your story, right, in simple terms, is what we are discussing. I mean, we are virtually discussing this afternoon. Owning your story is building that brand with purpose, where you own that brand, you own that story you are sharing with people, right? And it is not only about you sharing that or you building your brand, but loving yourself through that process. You cannot say you are doing something without love, right? And yes, it may be hard, but loving yourself through that process, through that journey is one of the bravest things you can do for yourself as an individual. So that is all that Brent Brown is telling us this afternoon. Right. So why is it important for you to own that story? Why is it important for you to build a brand with purpose? Why is it important for you to sit down and understand that people worldwide must know that there's a valuable person in this particular area or in Accra, Ghana, right? Why is it important? Now, these are some of the things that visibility will help you do. Visibility is, first of all, it will help you build trust and credibility. Visibility, being visible or building your brand with purpose would help you build trust and credibility. Like I said, you are, in your town, in your community, and all of that. But because of the brand you are building for yourself, if you consistently show up online with your expertise, um, with the things that you know, with the knowledge that you share, gradually it is going to help people trust you. People are going to know how credible you are, regardless of the small town in which you live, right? People will trust that if they should engage you in this particular area, you would be able to deliver. Those are some of the things that you need as an individual. That is why it is important for you to build that brand for yourself. Are you with me? Right. Number two is it is going to help you to attract opportunities. Okay. Building your brand will not only serve a purpose for you to be known. Now, it would also bring opportunities for you. And what are some of these opportunities? Sometimes people go on LinkedIn and then they poach people from where they are to their companies to come and work with them or work for them, right? So it means that if you're on this call or this meeting today and you have not started building your brand, you are putting yourself in a disadvantaged position. Okay. Because we are in this room, let me use myself as an example again. It was because I built my brand out there. That was why Women Ascension brought me here this afternoon to speak to all of you, because we've never met. Um, it's just telephone. I mean, we speak online and all of that, but we connected through LinkedIn, right? And that was how we've met this afternoon in this particular room to discuss this particular topic. Do you get me? So if you're not building your brand, you are doing yourself a disadvantage. Like I said, it will bring you opportunities. It will bring you opportunities in terms of job, in terms of people. As I speak to you today, if you are able to build your brand, you will realize that you would have some sort of circle around you. Okay, people that but not for your brand, or if you're not building your brand, you may have never met them, right? Or you may have never had their contact, because where would you meet them? Okay, in this world, where would you have met them? But because of your brand, that is going to create that opportunity for you to even engage such people. All right, so if you're not building your brand, or you have not started building your brand, or even if you have started and you are not consistent about it, then you are creating some sort of disadvantage for yourself. Now, the third one is it going to position you as an industry thought leader. So if you are building your brand, what you are doing as an individual is you are positioning yourself. You are telling people that I am capable of doing A, B, C, D. That is why I am here, or that is why I am speaking about this particular thing in my industry. So in the HR industry, I am telling people that because of the things that, and of course, I mean, sometimes you go for events, you go for programs, you post them, you go for trainings, you post them, and all of that. All of those things are stories that you are telling people. And those ones are going to compound to bring you opportunities in the future. And it starts gradually, right? So if you build your brand, you are one way or the other positioning yourself for, to see yourself as a thought leader. Now, these are some mistakes that you need to avoid if you are building a brand. The first one is being invisible. Now, you cannot say that you are building a brand and then you are invisible. As much as possible, you need to put yourself out there, right? If you are not putting yourself out there, again, like I said, you are missing opportunities. And in this day and age, opportunities only come to the visible ones. Opportunities only come to the visible ones who are capable, right? The second one is being inconsistent. If you are building a brand and you can consistently show up every 2 days, stick to that. If you are building a brand and you can consistently show up every 3 days or every 4 days or after every week, show up every 1 week, stick to that. You cannot show up this week and then you disappear, come again after a month or after a year and all of that. That is not you, building a brand, okay? And that is one of the worst mistakes you'll be making for yourself, because when that happens, what happens is that people will forget about you. I don't know if you've heard the saying where people say that out of sight is out of mind, right? If you are not in our faces, we will forget about you. Okay, so at every point in time, you need to be visible and you need to be consistent about it. The third one is only posting achievements. Sometimes people come on LinkedIn and it's only about some achievements. No, you need to balance it, like I said, with some insight, with some tips and all of that. Don't only post about your achievement, things you have achieved, but share knowledge with your audience. That also will push you to another level. The fourth one is ignoring engagement. When you start building your brand, again, I'm going to talk about the people factor, right? When people come in to support you, to engage on your post and all of that, do not ignore them. If somebody comes to comment on your post, respond to it. If somebody DMs you, right? Regardless of any reason, sometimes people just send you DM because they are just in your DM, it sometimes happens, but that is how you need to put the message clear out there. If let's take it for instance, if I DM you and then you realize that the conversation is not really taking us anywhere, you can end that. Do you get it? And so as a matter of fact, you must ensure that you are engaging with the people, right? Then the last one is copying someone else. Imitating people is wrong in every aspect, right? You need to ensure that, for instance, if you want to build a brand and as an HR, and you have seen an HR professional who is doing amazing work or is doing marvelously well in the field, what you need to do is to learn from the person, right? You need to learn from the person. People tend to copy or imitate people and then they lose themselves in the process. But if you are you are consistent with you as the individual, you will stand out, okay? Because like I always say, we cannot have two Mary and Ahenmah dances. It is not possible. I'm a twin, right? I'm a twin, but my sister can never be like me. I can never be like my sister, right? Our fingerprints different, you know, there's something that will distinguish the two of us. That is how it is as individuals. We cannot have a second of you. You are only you. You are only you. And so ensure that if you are building your brand, you are being consistent with the you factor, but not imitating people. So this is my action plan for all of you, or for all of us gathered here. If you have a brand, or you do not have a brand, or you are looking at building your brand, let's take 4 weeks to sit down to do something for ourselves. And for the first 1 week, which can start from today to the next Wednesday, I think that will be 7 days, yeah. So what you need to do is to sit down to audit your online presence. Now, you sit down, you Google yourself, the information that will come up, you need to edit, add, and do all of those things. Like I have said, some minutes ago, you need to do those edits. Take out those that must be taken out. I'm using must because it is very important for you to take out some things that do not serve your purpose. Okay, take out those things and add those things that must be there. Okay, then you update your LinkedIn account. You need to go to your headline to check your headline if it's communicating what you want to do. You need to go to your about section and write something there. Write something about yourself, okay, in your LinkedIn about session over there. So in the first 1 week, these are some of the things that you can sit down to do for yourself. Now, in the second week is where you sit down to define your brand message. Okay, so the message would be a statement that you are putting out there for your audience to know what you want to offer, right? So the first one is who you are, who you serve, and what you offer. Okay, who you are, who you serve, and what you offer. These are some questions that you need to find answers to, because that is, if you want to build a brand, that is when you are creating a content, that is that message would always be included in anything that you are putting out there. So if you don't answer this particular 3 questions, it is going to affect the brand, because you realize that today you are talking about this, tomorrow you are talking about that, and all of that. So the second week, that is what you need to do. Now, the third week is you creating, if you are able to find answers or draft your brand message, then you will create content, making sure that it aligns with your brand message. Are you getting me? So like I said, the first one is you doing the audit. The second one is your brand message. You need to work on your brand message. And the third one, which is the third week, is where you are creating content. And I only use 3 pieces of valuable content because I always believe that even if you cannot show up for so many days, 3 days should be okay. Showing up 3 days is okay. So you can have 3 days a week, okay? So create 3 valuable contents that aligns with your brand message for the third week. Then after you've created them, you can go ahead and post it one after the other and do your engagement. And sometimes when you go on LinkedIn, at least you need to ensure that you are engaging on about, on a daily 20 different posts, and on a daily basis you can connect with 5 or 10 people in your industry or in an industry that you think or believe serves your purpose, right? So that is what you can do. I mean, in simple terms. So you can take this, that would be some sort of guide to support you in building your brand. So week 1, you have something to do. Week 2, you have something to do. Week 3, and then week 4. Now, when you are done with this for the month or for the full 30 days, then after, it is all about you putting the valuable, the knowledge, and all of those things out there. So for instance, if you go on lunch break, or when you have some sort of time for yourself, you can draft something, maybe on your notes or on your phone. Once you have that there, later on, you can edit it and refine it to a post. And you can always use AI. AI is there to support us, in our work. So AI can also help you refine whatever you have written down. You edit it in the human form, and then you can always consistently have posts to write about or have posts to share with your audience. All right. So in summary, all I'm trying to say is that your voice deserves to be heard. Everybody has a voice, isn't it? You can hear my voice, right? So it means that everybody has a voice, right? And that voice needs to be heard. That voice needs to be heard. You have the knowledge, you have the experience, you have the expertise, you have so many things that the world wants to hear, right? So as a matter of fact, you need to put it out there. The world is indeed waiting to hear your voice. The world is waiting to hear you speak, to learn from you, to connect with you, to bring opportunities to your doorsteps. So do that today, start today, and there is always no time. You can never ever find a convenient time. The only time you can start is now, is today, right? So you need to sit down today and do that for yourself and for your future. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mary. That was quite insightful. I hope everyone enjoyed the session like I did. Because we're short on time, unfortunately, I won't be able to read out all the questions, but I'm going to read out the first 3 in the Q&A so that you respond to them. And so the first one came from, okay, I hope I pronounce your name well. If I don't, I'm sorry. Sisasekosi Novo. And he's asking, I used to Google to search for myself. Only LinkedIn profile is available. How best can I make myself visible and have detailed information as you mentioned?
Right. Okay. So let me take this particular question. So I didn't get the name, but for whoever asked that question or anybody in that same situation, if you want to have a lot of things about yourself, you need to put it out there. Now, the question is, how do you put it out there? You can put it out there when you write, you sit down to write and share it. And the mediums to which you can do that is through LinkedIn, is through Instagram. But LinkedIn is one of the best platforms for you to do. If you put them on LinkedIn, it will be out there. I wish I can even share, but I don't want to stop sharing. I wanted to try and see if I can show mine so that everybody can see. But okay, I think just a second. I want to help. So let me open Google. So like I was saying, you need to put it out there. I'm just typing my name and then okay. So how do okay? I need to share the screen again. Okay. So yes. Okay, so to whoever asked the question, I hope you can see all of these things are things that I shared on my LinkedIn. Most of them were from my LinkedIn. So as you can see, all of these things were not things that I wrote about. So you can see, can you see my screen?
No, it's black.
Wow, sorry. Then let me stop sharing and share again. Okay. Wow. Can you see it now?
Nope. On my
Oh,
side, no.
so
I don't know
sorry.
if other people can see it.
So sorry, so sorry. Okay, I was trying to, okay, let me see if I can use my phone instead. Or let me just, okay, so sorry. But all I'm trying to say is that I can see it from my end here. And okay, let me just turn the camera or something. Still not working. All right. So all I'm saying is that you need to put those things out there, and you can do it through the mediums. And these mediums are LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, right? But LinkedIn is the number one professional platforms that you can use. And I can see it from my end here. All of those things that when you Google my name, you can see about 80% of them, or even 85 to 90% are from LinkedIn, and they are all showing here, right? And so if you don't want to just see your name and your photo, but the things that you have written about, use LinkedIn. And it's not only about you using LinkedIn, but having the time to sit down to write something, right? To write the content, to write the valuable post and all of that. So that's the only way you can find information about yourself, which is only not your photograph and your name. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. And then the next one, for young professionals in any field. This was our HR head, Janat, asked, for young professionals in any field, how do they find purpose on the basis of which they can make their brand?
Say that again.
For young professionals in any field, how
Okay.
do the young professionals find purpose on the basis of which they can make their brand?
Okay, right. So, in terms of purpose, you finding purpose as a young professional, I'm still going to share what I shared earlier, right? Purpose is always the reason for which you want to do something, right? The reason for which you exist, the reason for which you want to do anything. Okay, so as a young professional, if you are going to link purpose or if you want to find purpose in you building a brand, it's just an example, right? It can be for employers to find you. Okay, if you want employers to find you, that can be a purpose for which you want to build your brand. So you need to start by doing all the things that we have said today. It can also be somebody can say that, okay, I am building a brand because I want to connect with people. That can also be the person's purpose for which he or she wants to build that brand. So if you are a young professional, you need to sit down and know what you want, understand what you want to do, and build the brand in that angle. Do you get my point? So everything will be dependent on you, first of all, with what you want to do, how you want to do it. That is the only way that will help you find that purpose to build that brand. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mary. I think because we're short on time, we are not going to ask more questions, but I would like to close this session. But before we close, I first of all want to thank you for joining, everyone that is on the call. Thank you for sparing time to be with us and being part of this series. And for you, Miss Mary, a special thanks goes to you for not just sharing what you shared, the insights and the deep thoughts that you've given us, some for us to ponder on. And for every one of us today, we also thank you for the generosity with which you shared. You left no stone unturned, I hope. And you brought your years of hard-earned experience onto this call and shared with us without almost any cost or no cost at all. So we want to thank you. And I believe that everyone on this call has not remained the same, that we've been sharpened, and so we'll also share the knowledge with other people. And I would like to thank you very, very much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here and to spend my afternoon with all of you. Thank you for the invite. And to Women Ascension, thank you so much. It's really a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Miss
Okay.
Mary. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining this session. We'll meet soon in the next week. We are
Okay. Thank
announcing
you,
the next
Jonathan.
session. Yeah. Thank you so much, Flavia, and thank you, Miss Mary.